give any technical details now. I think everyone is too tired to go into anything super technical. I'm going to give you an overview of what is happening in quantum, overview about the funding, about the resources, and what you can do if you're interested in education, and my view on what government can do to really boost the workforce and skills that everybody is talking about now that is really hard to find because there is this shortage in skills in quantum. I work as an engineer in industry. Then I moved to academia. Now I'm an entrepreneur. So I know a little bit about what it means to have the right skills, what it means to change careers, what it means to learn something new. And all that experience, I'm trying to put it together now when people are coming and say, how can I start with quantum? I'm coming from business, but this is very technical. How can I translate that? And you will see that through the slides, how I'm trying to put everything together now in what we do. I think it's clear that the future is going to be quantum, but it's clear that the present is also quantum. Quantum computing is what everybody is talking about, but we have heard and we know that there are other technologies. Each of these technologies is at a different stage of development. We need to be ready, we need skills to be part of the workforce for each of these technologies. And each of these technologies require different skills, different expertise, different understanding of the applications for industry, and also how the government think about the usage of this technology. We need to have this overview because the use cases, I think over and over again, we always think about use cases from quantum computing algorithms that we are going to use in industry. And there are a lot of different things that we can do with quantum technologies for the public sector, in terms of communication, the defense sector. There are things that we need to think about also for the good and for the bad. This is something that probably you have seen because a lot of people are using this. We started doing this, I think, in 2020 because I wanted to understand how much public funding was out there. And at that point, it was pretty much the UK who put money in 2013, 2014. Then we had the national initiatives from the US and the flagship in 2018. And then since then, it was every year, every month over the pandemic, there was more and more money coming from government into quantum. So clearly, there is an opportunity. Otherwise, governments wouldn't put any money on that. And here we have heard last week there was an announcement from India. Actually, what we have here is a little bit more than what has been announced last week. Because what governments do is they actually say, we are going to spend X money, but then 1 or 2 years later, they say, actually, we have realized that the money we have is this to spend it on that. So sometimes you hear double numbers. And this is very important because this is really, there is a lot of effort trying to put all these numbers together. Another thing that I want to tell you is that Germany has announced something yesterday, I think. So there is a little bit more money to put on that. Clearly, a lot of interest from the governments on putting money here. And that is because they know that there is an opportunity. But they also should know that in order to make all this a reality, we need people. Since 2019, 2020, there were more and more startups. Over the pandemic, I think it was almost every 2 weeks that there was a new startup coming up. I was really like, how is this even possible? People are not allowed to go to the office, but there were new startups. We are talking about a global footprint of startups in quantum. Spin-outs, startups, and even companies that they started to think about quantum in the last years. We are talking about almost 700 companies that are working in quantum now. This is the split per country. And it's true that in the US, there are a lot of companies working in quantum, but there are companies in a lot of countries that I think people are not even aware that there are companies there. So when the talent is looking for a job, I always say, where do you want to work? Because sometimes they are not even aware that they can maybe work wherever they live. But all these startups, all this workforce is going to develop. So a lot of companies that maybe they are not hiring now are going to be hiring in 1 or 2 years. We need talent to go to these countries too. And what is happening really, if you think about the different stakeholders, is that you have the academics, the technical people, that they explain what they do, but sometimes the industry don't understand this, sometimes or most of the times, as you probably know. The industry partners, the corporations, they need to understand how they can use quantum. Then you have the general public and people who are starting in quantum out of fantastic work that is out there, social media, everything. How can they start if they don't really grasp the basics of quantum from a general perspective? And of course, government. If government doesn't understand the need to put the money, how is it going to say, this is my strategy in putting the money that I'm saying, I'm going to spend 3 billion, but I have no idea what to do. And probably you know that this is happening a lot. So QURECA was born in 2019 with the aim to bridge this language gap. Let's talk business to the academics, let's talk technical to the business, let's talk to the government what they really want to know, and let's try to really shape that language that everyone speaks the same quantum language. What we do, we are so far the only company focusing in skills and workforce from a perspective of really addressing that gap from recruitment and education. We work with fantastic people all over the world, and we do a lot of different other things, but our focus is really at addressing that skills gap. What we do if we have different training programs from, I will tell you more about it, but from online courses to individuals, to industry, tailored programs to outreach projects. We offer recruitment if you're looking for talent or people looking for jobs. We kind of do the perfect match. And we provide community building by organizing specific events for regions that we think that we need to boost, like I will tell you more about it in some specific regions. So the quantum workforce is a topic that in the last years it started to appear in the social media. People are starting to talk about it. I don't think there is an event where you go and people don't say, we need more education, we need more people. It's clear that there is a problem there. But I think in general, the ecosystem is so much focused in we need money to develop the technology that they say there is a problem to address the skills gap, but they are not saying we need money to address the problem, to have this talent ready. Quantum is not there yet, but we need to be ready. If we wait until the technology is ready, it's going to be too late. So we need really to start thinking about how to start creating that talent pool now. But implementing quantum engineering, that at the end of the day, this is what we are talking about here, this is going to take a lot of time. It's not like in 3 years you're going to have quantum engineers ready to join the quantum workforce. And the second thing is, we are doing a lot of things bottom up, but implementing quantum engineering worldwide, it has to be top down. There's no way that this is going to be done if the government is not addressing the talent gap. We have tried to look at the market, the evolution, and see how this translates into a job market with all this number of companies that I was mentioning before. And we actually check every 6 months to see if we are in the right number, and so far it's okay. And you can see that, yeah, this is growing. There are more and more companies, they are hiring. But this is going to be so big in 20 years, 10, 20 years. This is people that are now in primary school, high school. If they don't know that this is going to become a discipline by just hearing a little bit about quantum, how do we want to have like 6,000 people, 1 million people working in quantum? We need education at all levels. And I'm not saying that now is the time to have a quantum education system. No, because it takes time. What we need to think is, what can we do at each level? And it's not like there's nothing out there. There are a lot of different initiatives, and here you have some specific examples. In the US, they started with a national Q12 education partnership where they address the K-12 education system, bringing quantum to high schools, undergraduates. So there is a lot going on there. We are launching, I think just 2 weeks ago, we launched the QURECA box that is a very educational, is a box for teachers to teach quantum computing in high schools. And we think that the only way really to address that gap at that level is to teach the teachers. Because physics teachers in high schools, they don't know much about quantum computing. And then if you go to universities, undergraduates, we collaborate in different projects, but again, it's very hard because it's not global, it's not even a country. Each region has a completely different system to implement an academic scheme. So it's quite hard to work on content and on syllabus worldwide. And then at the master level, just to mention DGQ, this is at European level where they are trying to create a master's, European master on quantum technologies, working with industry. Of course, it's not physics anymore as a discipline to be in quantum. Quantum engineering is going to become multidisciplinary. It's going to be mathematics, computer science, all these different fields. They need to add quantum on top of what they do to be part of this new workforce. And at the level of, then if you take a PhD, yes, this is what most of people are still doing to join the quantum workforce, but there are a lot of professionals looking for jobs in quantum. And we are addressing this by the QT project that I'm going to mention now, where at the European level, different partners around Europe, we are addressing how to teach industry, how to retrain and upskill professionals into quantum. And this is a question that I hear over and over again. Do I need a PhD to work in quantum? The answer is, it depends. It depends if you're in Europe, it depends if you're in US, and it depends which company. There is no answer, you need a PhD or not. There is really a lot of difference depending on the company, what they are doing, the level of the development of the technology. So it's really, really hard to answer that question. But I would say 75% of the job openings right now require a PhD, because we are in the early stages of the development of the technology. And this is just an overview. I think this is from the last year. There are a lot of masters going on, people working on creating masters worldwide. A lot of people out of these masters are coming to us and say, I want a job. And the truth is that by doing a master in quantum, you're not ready to join the quantum workforce now. Unless that you're not doing something super technical, that if you're doing something on communications or something like that, you can. But otherwise, I think the masters, the people developing these masters at university level, they don't work together with industry to really understand the industry needs, that the syllabus and the curriculum is according to that. That's why this project that I was mentioning, some universities are coming to us and say, do you think this is what industry needs? And sometimes we need to say, no, there's a lot of physics, quantum mechanics is taught everywhere. We really need to prepare quantum engineers. And that mindset, engineering mindset on physicists, this is something that is going to take time to build. So at European level, there are different projects, and I think Europe is doing quite well right now on funding for skills. There are 4 projects, but here I'm focusing on these 3 initiatives. Since 2018, when Quantum Flagship was launched, Quantum Education Community, QT was really, really fruitful. It was a lot of people from all over Europe working on different education initiatives, from outreach to upskilling. I was part of that, and QURECA was part of that. You know, I think 90% of the people in that were academics who wanted to do something else on education. How can we address the talent gap for industry if industry is not involved in addressing this gap? And even the role of government is key. So there are a lot of things that have been going on, but we need more time to be able to think about how to do it from the perspective of what we really need for this. DGQ is this kind of Quantum Master for Europe that it was launched this year, and the idea will be to create different masters addressing the gap and addressing the needs from industry, and they will have different internships. So if you're looking for interns, I think beginning of October, you could have some interns from this project working for your company. And then QT the one that we lead, is really addressing the industry gap in terms of upskilling and reskilling professionals. And we are working from CTOs, CEOs that want to know more about quantum to people, for example, for Airbus, engineers in Airbus, what could be really addressed as content for them to upskill them in quantum. So you think there are different initiatives, and there are a lot of different people working on really address the gap in Europe. Is this enough? I don't think so. I think nobody knows what else to do. And I think it's because most of the people are really busy doing other things to think about skills and education. There are a lot of different technologies that need to be developed. But in order to really grow, and you remember the gap that is coming, a lot of things, a lot of more money has to be put on it, and a lot of things have to happen. So what we are doing right now, in terms of education at QURECA, is we try to understand who is the audience, what could be the career path for that individual or company, and what could be the content that they really need, because that is key. It's not the same talking to a pharma company or a bank or a retail company. So we have a platform for online courses where we work, we develop content ourselves, but we work with fantastic partners like QuantFi here, where we have this career path for people who are interested in finance and quantum. And if they come from finance or if they come from quantum, what can they do to learn more, to have that kind of to be ready to join the quantum workforce? We just announced a collaboration with Moody's as well, because they want to address the gap with their clients and people in the financial sector. And we are working with other people in other sectors as well. So there are a lot of things going on. And you probably have heard from some quantum companies that they are also thinking about education. So one of the things that we do is we collaborate with them to create that content that is depending on the audience according to whatever their expertise is. So here, for example, you have one that we were launching last year with Zapata. Another important thing is about regions. There is a lot of talent in regions where people don't think about hiring. We launched Quantum Latino 2 or 3 years ago. This is going to be the 3rd edition this year. There is a lot of talent in Latin America. There is a lot of talent in regions where there is no quantum event. There are hundreds of thousands of quantum events, and we are the only quantum Latino or quantum event so far. So there is talent, but we need to understand where to find it and how to make that talent visible for the ecosystem. And then so collaborations. As I said, we don't do this ourselves. We need to work with the experts. And one thing here is when we work with SpinQ, they have this 2-qubit, it's something like that people, we went to a computer science department in England, and people were like, I want to see something. And it's like, here you have a quantum computer, 2 qubits. And they were like, that's really cool. And that's how they learn the basics of quantum computing. So having something touchable, something tangible, touch on and hands-on is really, really important for people that are new to quantum. Because if you come with the Hamiltonian directly, they will get scared. So as you see, different things that we are doing that we think that's the proper way, but there's no way that this can be done alone. It's really a collaboration. And if you have any further ideas to address the skills gap, we are really looking forward for any collaboration. One important thing, a lot of people are like, how can I start with quantum? I'm a company and I never heard of it. And I said, well, the first thing, don't think about a POC, and I'm sorry, but you cannot ask a company to put money if they don't understand what quantum is. So first is, what is quantum? Second is what quantum can do for my business or for me or for whatever, even if it's a government, even if it's a nation, right? Once you understand the value of quantum, then you can think about putting money into a proof of concept or a demonstrator and working with startups. So what we do is that we work with a lot of partners, and if we feel that a company is mature enough to bring a quantum startup with the expertise to work together, that's our kind of consulting part of the business. And this is working quite well because Quantum Master, that is what some companies did. They said, I'm going to hire an expert and I'm going to have a quantum department. It didn't work. It didn't. We have seen this in some companies. If you don't go through the journey, I think it's going to be really hard for you to be quantum ready. And another important thing is these career pathways. It's not that you need to have a PhD. It really depends on what you want to do. But the government has to be involved in developing the curriculum at these levels. It has to be involved in informing industry and informing policymakers and everyone that quantum is a discipline, and also to put money into creating this new content and training. And this is from the paper that we released last year, where you have a lot of different resources. So don't tell me you don't know where to find things about quantum. You can start just playing video games. So if you have children, you can tell them you want to know quantum, you want to play with lasers. There are a lot of events. Not only these kind of events, but you can join virtual events for free. There are a lot of resources out there. It depends what you need, where you want to go, and just tell us. Thank you very much.
Great. Okay, any questions? Right here.
Thanks, Araceli. That was a very good presentation. When you talk about government funding for to fill the talent gap, what do you mean exactly? What kind of government programs are available, and how are they funding training and recruiting, and are they funding directly quantum companies like yourself, or are they funding universities who will enhance their programs?
There's nothing. That's the problem. There's really nothing addressing that gap. There is the different projects that I show from the European Commission. Those are the things that I have seen so far. There are some associations where they are doing things like the IOP in the UK or IEEE worldwide. But there's not really money from the education department of the government of France putting some money on education for developing the workforce in France, for example. This is something that is in all agendas on the strategies, but there's no real money on it. I think they are starting to think how to allocate that money. But I think the model from the European Commission has to be replicated in the different nations.
And is there any private funding available for education in quantum?
So far, there's the digital skills and Erasmus program at the European level, where we have participating in some calls. So if you think that you're interested in something like that, we can work together on a consortium. But yeah, that's the only thing. We need to think about launching this at nation level, so in France and in Germany and so on.